Hi, welcome to Linux channel. So people who start their career in system software programming or embedded development or who are planning to do, especially youngsters, will often hear the terms called board bring up and kernel porting and things like that. This is somewhat different than the well known terms like kernel programming and stuff. Okay, this is all I am saying, kernel porting and board bring up and stuff. See, if I recollect, when I was working in Monta Vista, there were lot of guys who are working on these things. Okay, they are some are working in fresh board bring up, little bit senior developers mainly are working into kernel porting and stuff. The thing is, it is kernel porting is a subset of board bring up, but sometimes some may work on board bring up alone, and some may work all together. Okay, I do have a friend who, in fact, worked in a board bring up kind of a stuff along with kernel porting. So his work is he used to have like 3-4 hardware devices on his desk, and it takes anywhere like 3 months, 6 months and stuff like that. See, since I am not in that domain, I can't give the right accurate duration, but it depends on things it requires and the complexity and stuff like that. Okay, or any customization or any showstoppers, like any intensive porting you need to do. Okay, sometimes it can be quite trivial. Okay, sometimes you need to work more. Okay, so it again depends, but as far as I seen it takes anywhere like 6 months and so on actually. So he used to work on parallel projects. It's just not one board and then he sits, because he's quite senior level. Okay, so he used to work on parallel projects, but the workflow is somewhat like that. So the name, as the name says, a board bring up is that you get a new board. For instance, just now I covered a small reference dual gigabit Ethernet board. This is a router board meant for general vendors who can take this board and they can make their own hardware out of it. So anyway, thing like this, if you have a board and let's assume you are porting freshly Linux on that and it doesn't have any Linux on that, so in that case, or any operating system, not Linux, so in that case you may need to get your bootloader and then you need to read all that data sheets, and then you do that work as a typical board bring up, so that it starts the first time it boots, it knows where to pick the thing, and you initialize everything, and the workflow starts. So that's what, as the name says, it mainly mentioned that it mainly incorporates. So you do a fresh board bring up, so it's some embedded board. It's not like typical x86 or something. It can be any board. So even we can think like Raspberry Pi, somebody have done that, hence we are getting the Raspberry Pi OS, which just boots, and then we can start using it. But you can imagine, so you need to do the customization of bootloader and various things. So that's what a board bring up is. You may have a new board, reference board, and they need to work on those things, and especially these are the guys who extensively have to read, say for instance, this is an SoC, system on chip. This is not just a CPU. It is an entire system on chip, so you get all sorts of different controllers on the processor itself. So it's an entire system on chip, so they need to read all the specs. They need to see what things are mapped, and once they get that know-how, they can work on things like that. So you need to have that sort of a workflow. I mean, you will get such workflow. You need to read lot of data sheets. If there are any interfaces or some GPIO pins where it is mapped, which address it is mapped, so you get to know these things, and then selectively you choose, and then you get to the board bring up stuff, the main thing. But now comes the other challenge, is the kernel porting. Okay, kernel porting is like sometimes you may not have any reference kernel for this, and in that case these guys say, for instance, there is no reference kernel for ARM chip at all in anywhere in the world. So first time somebody have to do that. Okay, in that case what happens is, there it gets quite challenging. If you go here, for instance, the kernel source, the kernel source constitutes, there are several sections in the kernel source which are platform independent, which means if you compile, it compiles and gets you the binary meant for a specific hardware platform. That is fine, but there are also sections of kernel where it is platform independent. I mean platform dependent. Okay, you see there you have this Arch folder. This is what constitutes a platform dependent code. So platform, we mean the processor architecture. Okay, versus the other sections like this general networking, general file system, all these things are fine. You compile for x86, it is the binary is going to work for x86 on x86 hardware. Okay, but in the case of Arch folder, it contains various basic low level APIs. These low level APIs could be memcopy, memset, strcpy, printf, or any such low level APIs. I mean printk in the case of kernel. So any such low level APIs, such low level APIs is what supported there. And since some of these APIs are quite critical, say for instance you are doing some memcopy and you are doing for every packet on that, every packet arriving on that board for some reason in a network stack. See, memcopy is can be the single reason. If it is not optimized, the whole network performance will drop down. Hence what happens is, you have such critical code in Arch folder, and since it is a critical code, some of this code are architecture independent code, which is fine, but most of the code can be highly optimized architecture dependent code. So in this some sections you will find various parts which even contains assembly code and things like that. Even I do have extensive discussions when I have sessions with my students, the code inside the Arch folder. So if you are doing kernel porting and there is no ARM, see there is this ARM folder is there, so ARM specific code is inside that folder. So assume there is no ARM port is available, and no one have done so far. So in that case you need to create the new stuff. Possibly I think they take something as a reference like this x86 or something, and then they eventually have to port literally everything. So this is the workflow. But these days, since we have these things well established, if this board needs some changes, this have something added or some small customization or something have to be changed as per the specs, as per the data sheet, maybe those things alone they fine tune. But other than that, kernel porting is mainly, they do this so that it can accommodate this platform. Other things are quite fine. I am not sure how far they need to work in terms of drivers, because drivers you code not with respect to processor much. Okay, you work for those third party devices, peripherals, and controllers and stuff. If there is any network controller, you will get a network controller specific code. That network controller or that same hardware you can anyway incorporate on any board like this, or even you can put it on a laptop x86 server or things like that. So it is fine. Okay, but other than that, the Arch folder is the main thing which they have to port, and then of course the various other dependent models. So what happens is, they get the whole reference kernel working on such a device. So once they have done this, next comes this user space components and libraries and stuff. Obviously they need to even cross compile all those things so that they can work on this target board. But that is something no one tells, or there is no term for that explicitly. So you have usually the board bring up, and then you have this kernel porting, okay, or kernel port. Hence kernel port is, this is the job they do. So if you are a beginner, if you are thinking, because see, this is a vast area, system software is so many things are involved. If you are thinking you can prioritize embedded programming or something on a board bring up, or some sort of low level things like that, perhaps with minimal kernel knowledge is fine. because you are not anyway doing a kernel port. Somebody else may do as part of the extended team of your office. But if you are single-handedly, I mean, if you are a team and the whole team, couple of bunch of guys or just one guy have to do the whole stuff, which is board bring up and also kernel port and everything together, then you need to have a good know-how of kernel programming, obviously, which means not just some module programming, as a whole the kernel architecture and deep internals of kernel data structures, kernel various APIs of various subsystems and also various subsystems and stuff like that. So you need to have very good know-how if you want to be a kernel porting expert. So I often seen those guys are very good in systems know-how, of course, Linux internals and stuff. They are very good in that. So they also need to be good in terms of the overall operating system tune-up, kernel tune-up, and various things like that. Because see, you can't take some kernel or some reference kernel config which runs on any laptop as it is put on some tiny board like this. So you need to have some common sense. You need to do a lot of fine tune-up so that it is not bogging down anything, it is not over utilizing any resources, and you need to throttle anything if you want, so that it kind of perfectly suits for such architecture. So even if you compare this Raspberry Pi with x86, this looks like inadequate processing, or this looks like a tiny single board computer in this form factor and stuff. But just imagine, I even got some MIPS processor based routing boards. For example, see, this is a routing board, but this is an ARM based routing board. But if you ask me, I have even MIPS based MIPS processor routing boards. So such routing boards are even more tiny and very less compute power they got compared to something like Raspberry Pi. Even it has very less RAM, which is soldered. It's completely low spec when you compare a Raspberry Pi, because this is not to be confused with an embedded device. This is more like a computer in this tiny form factor. So this is a single board computer. As the name says, this is an SBC with that SoC offering, okay, system on chip. Also it's an SBC, it's a single board computer. So here you don't need to much struggle. But if you think a very small embedded devices or something like that, like I said, the MIPS processor, it can be some generic routing boards, or it can be some embedded device, okay, something like that. What happens is you need to even more get to the deeper level, and you need to fine tune the kernel so that it is nowhere throttling and affecting the performance. Because if the kernel itself is taking lot of overhead, then where you can fit the end user processes, okay, the end objective is to run user processes on that system, not that you just entirely block and then run your operating system alone, or in this case Linux kernel alone. So the challenge is more as you get more tiny embedded device which has very less inadequate compute power, okay. So this is what it is. So if you are planning, if you are a beginner, focus on one area. If you want to be a porting expert, you can focus on that. You need to be an expert in generally Linux kernel architecture, programming and stuff. Of course, people do ask me which book I study and all. I always, as I recommend always, you can study books, it's fine, but you study the source code itself, okay. Just to go through the source code, spend some time each subsystem, go through the source code, try to get such caliber. Because if you work in client projects in the industry, often they give you a huge code and sometimes it is not documented. You need to learn yourself, read yourself, learn yourself, and take a paper, put that API flow, put any callbacks you are getting. So by doing that, you will get some rough high level design, we call it as a HLD, and then from there even you can go deeper and then you can derive yourself a low level design, LLD, okay. You don't need to get any documentation in case if they don't maintain. See, companies they don't maintain sometimes a documentation. They don't ask the guy who worked on that to document, because it unnecessarily, again, they need to pay money. So they think of cost cutting, but unfortunately it becomes a challenging aspect when any newcomer comes and they need to end up working on these modules, which is left over by someone else, and assume you need to add some new features or you need to do some bug fixing, some maintenance, and it becomes a challenging task because now you don't have any documentation. So in that case, build these skills. Don't expect documentation. Same skills, if you apply, you can learn Linux kernel source by yourself, because you don't need always to rely on books. Books may be outdated. Just to take the kernel source, go through once in a while, and you can build such skills. If you are very much a beginner, if you don't know anything, perhaps right now it's not the time to learn these things, okay, is what I can say, because you need to be good in some programming aspects, then you can jump on something like this. So hope you got some context and the big picture. If you have anything to discuss things like this, or anything you are confused about your career, be in touch via mail or post your queries in YouTube comments. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.